What's going on, everybody? So, I think was it yesterday or the day before, there was an announcement by Steam. We all use Steam, right? My entire gaming library is pretty much on Steam, and there's pros and cons to that. But we'll dive that into another video. I want to talk about some devices that they just announced. Now, Steam is known for being, a place where we buy games, we play games, all that good stuff. But they had an announcement. Now, they are not new to consoles to like actually making stuff because they came out with the Steam Deck. Now, if you guys don't know what the Steam Deck is, it's something that I own. I purchased it literally like 3 years ago. I love it. You can do your PC gaming on the go. It runs like 80 to like 95% of PC games. Like games made for Windows runs on this Steam Deck under Linux. And in some cases runs better. It's just kind of crazy. Now they came forward and they announced, they announced the VR, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Steam Machine. Okay. Now the Steam Machine got me interested. I saw like one or two videos on it. They're hardware announcements. And I guess we can kind of cover
Hey everyone, this is Steam Deck.
So I'm gonna go and they do a quick thing on the Steam Deck. They cover the new controller that they have, which you compare to your PC.
Steam controller.
I don't know. I don't know if this product will take off. Mainly because if you're playing Red Dead, if you're playing RPGs, action like Cyberpunk, right? You most likely already have an Xbox controller or PlayStation controller or something else, right? SteelSeries had one that I liked. So you probably have that.
The new Steam controller puts all of your Steam games at your fingertips. So
I do like this for a couple things. The two things underneath the trackpad here.
Game with your Steam controller. Even games never built with the controller in mind. It has all the great features from Steam.
So the cool thing is, like, this is a tactile button. So like if you're playing Civ, right? Or Europa Universalis, Heart to Iron, whatever. You can use that as the mouse, right? I found that to be useful. If you're gaming on the go, right, and you want to get your Europa on, and Europa Universalis 5 came out. I want to play it, but I don't have a job. I technically found a contract job. Starts on Monday. For a lot less money, so I probably wouldn't be able to afford it. But anyway, the cool couple of things that I like about it, it has a gyro, so that's kind of interesting. I don't think any other handhelds have a gyro. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But these tactile sensors kind of changed the game for strategy gaming, and that's why I wanted to kind of like look at this, is because you can if you want to, I don't know why you would want to, because every time I play EU or Stellaris or whatever, I use mouse and keyboard. But this kind of pairs with this other device that they have, which is, oh, by the way, it's kind of cool to charge, easy to charge.
Once you're charged up, snap it off again. You can play over Bluetooth or a wired connection.
So this is kind of cool. I do think the Steam Deck, I wish the Steam Deck screen was a little bit bigger. I don't know. I know the ergonomics and everything. It's like 7 inches, so I have a hard time seeing when I'm like... forget about like... you could probably play strategy games on it, like Civ, and I have in the past, but I usually connected it to the monitor.
This is the new Steam Machine.
But this is what it is about.
Steam Machine is a powerful gaming PC in a small but mighty package, designed for your games on the big screen. It's quiet too, which is crazy, since it's 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. powered by a discrete, semi-custom AMD GPU, enabling 4K gaming at 60 frames per second with FSR.
That is impressive. 4K gaming at 60 FPS, depending on what games they're talking about. That's pretty good.
Steam Machine runs SteamOS, made for a bigger
pretty
screen.
good. That's really
built
good.
for gaming in your living room, your office, or wherever you play, with the rest of your PC accessories. Steam Machine borrows some great features from Steam Deck, like
So the things that I love about my Steam Deck, without hesitation, is something that Windows has tried and failed. They came out with the Xbox competitor called the Xbox Ally X something, right? And it got mixed reviews. Microsoft came forward and said, we're going to make a handheld that you could play all your PC games on. Everybody was really excited about it. And they said it's going to run a custom version, like a stripped down version of Windows, like a bare bones with just like an Xbox dashboard on top. And I'll do another video on that. But it's bad. Like, when people got it into their hands, it turns out it's running full Windows, right? Which is a big problem because Windows runs like tons of services. Like, it runs a fax service. It runs like numerous other Windows updates in the background. It's doing a lot of things, and it's taking more control from you over, whether you can update now or you can update later. Windows is forcing you to do more things. There's more ads in there, and I can tell you, as a former Microsoft employee, there is a lot of data collection happening there. Now, SteamOS is Linux, but they use this thing called Proton. They made this thing called Proton, and it basically is what I talked to you about before. It runs 80 to like 95% of PC games. I don't think I came across maybe a few games that I wasn't able to play in my big library, right? I was able to play Civ, EU. I was able to play Warplan, Gary Grigsby's. So like, it can do a lot. And the cool thing is this fast suspend and resume mode. I love this because, like, you're playing your Steam Deck, right? And, if I'm playing, I usually play, like, NBA on my Steam Deck. So, like, if I'm losing and I'm getting frustrated and, like, I don't know, I had one of my players take a three, it failed, I could just press pause, press the top button on the Steam Deck for the power, just tap it quick, put it on the side, and it, like, sleeps it, right? And then maybe 5 minutes later, I calm down. I'm like, all right, let me start again, right? And I take it out. I press the button. I'm right back into the game. There is no, like, loading. It's perfect. It's like, it's seamless. And yeah, the updates are seamless. I do agree with that. Notifications are cool. Because, it gives you your Steam notifications if you want them.
lightning fast sleep
That's
and
my
wake,
son, by the way.
an SD card slot to easily expand your storage, and bring some new tricks of its own, like a customizable LED strip, which can show different system
Whoa.
functionalities, or your own light show. Steam Machine is a PC, so run whatever software you want, and it works with all your favorite desktop and gaming accessories. Steam Machine is designed to work hand in hand with the Steam controller, with the low latency, wireless connectivity of the Steam controller pad built right in. And it's great for streaming your games to your phone, tablet, laptop, Steam Deck, or Steam Frame. Oh, yep. This is Steam Frame.
That's actually really cool. So the thing that I want to know is, it said running an AMD chip, a custom AMD chip. But the video that I saw didn't mention anything about like the specs. So let's take a look. Hopefully they include the specs in here, because could this, I'm not saying put an end or but maybe even a dent into the PC gaming industry, right? We all know that, like, graphics cards today, forget about it, right? Like, I started looking at graphics cards back when I was still working, and I'm like, no, mid-range graphics card at like $700-800, like, ridiculous prices. And then now I hear RAM is on the way up because of AI. Thank you, AI. Small form factor, cool and quiet, I/O for days. Oh, 1 gigabit Ethernet. Okay, I mean I don't think you need anything more than that. So this is what I want to know: 4K gaming at 60 FPS. Now, what games are running that? Because if it's like, like one of those indie games that are very like, I don't know, I have a couple of indie games, like Hades, right? That's easy, right? But if it's big games like EU, right? Then we're talking, right? I do like the LED strip. You know, I keep meaning to do that on my Linux box here, Linux/Windows box. Optimized for games that run SteamOS. Now the cool thing is, you can always put Bazzite, which is kind of gives you a little bit more control. I think SteamOS is open source, I believe, so you know what data is going in and out. But if not, I'm trying to remember if SteamOS is. Okay, so the core operating system is based on open with source code from the open source components. However, the Steam client, which there's so. You can't check everything they're collecting, but you can get something called Bazzite, which is similar to SteamOS, and it basically has the same kind of mantra kind of thing. Easy to play Windows games and all that stuff. And it's a PC, but you're not giving me the specs. Hardware and launch information. Well, I guess so. They're not giving the specs. Oh no, they are right here. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's an AMD Zen 4, 6-core, 12 threads. Okay, that's interesting. I think we're on Zen 5, if I'm not mistaken. RDNA, okay, interesting. AMD RDNA 28 CUDA cores, I think. Okay, so I went to Wikipedia here, and so RDNA 3, right? So we have it over here, and it's part of the series of graphics cards. So the 7000 series of AMD's graphics cards, and it says over here 28 CUs, and so for 28 CUs, that's equivalent to. I was just looking at it. I don't know where I missed it. You guys are probably finding it faster. There we go, 28 CUs. So we're looking at somewhere around here, which is the equivalent of, okay, that's not too bad. So that's a little under a 7600, right? So probably like a 7500, which I don't think AMD makes. So probably not the most heavy intensive gaming. I'm thinking 10 minutes forward me. So I just wanted to add in 7500 to 7600 graphics card. Now that I'm thinking about it, I am running an AMD 6600 graphics card with 8 gigs of video RAM. I'm able to play EU4, Stellaris, a lot of them, I believe, on high graphics, right? Not at 120 frames, but like 60 frames. So this is one generation up, so it could probably do everything my graphics card can do, and maybe a little bit more. So not too shabby. I'm thinking, you're running the, you're not gonna run EU4 5 at 60 frames at 4K with this. I have a feeling. But 16 gigabytes DDR5, that's pretty good. 8 gigabytes of dedicated. Wow. Okay. So that's a lot of. That's a good enough amount of RAM to run a mid-range graphics card. Now the question comes down to, it has all this goodness in here. Bluetooth 5.3, it has Wi-Fi, it has DisplayPort, HDMI 2.0, why not 2.1? USB-C, gigabit Ethernet. I wish it had a little bit heavier, but that's fine. So the question becomes, what is the price? Now the price is the biggest thing. An AMD graphics card, at 7600, it's, I actually don't know the price even on that AMD 7600 graphics card. Let's check out what the price on something like this. So you're looking at the ballpark of between like about $300 roughly. And this is a little less, so it's probably going to be like a $200 to $250 graphics card. Now compare that if they add in, they have this AMD Zen 4 6-core CPU with all the goodness and all that other stuff. If this is 500 in the price range, right around there, under 500, wow. Over 500, depending on how far. I think anything above like 650, I would probably no. Under 650, I would consider it. So I'm gonna look at this more. I'm gonna do more like checking on this, but I just wanted to give you guys like a heads up that they're coming out with this, right? And you can hook this up to your TV. It seems like it's a small box, so easy to transport. I took my big tower here to my friend's house in North Carolina to do some gaming. Well, it was a great time. It's just, unplugging all the cables, and then, do you guys remember back in the 90s when you had to unplug everything and just take everything with you? How much that was? It was a lot, and I had to put a seatbelt on it, make sure it was safe. This being, something like this that you could probably put in your bag, gaming on the go. I mean, putting this in your your sports bag or whatever, and you're traveling and you get to the hotel, plug it into the TV. I don't know, man. That would be something very interesting. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Any more developments come up, I'll let you know. Comes with SD card. That's pretty cool. Now the cool thing about with SteamOS is the SD card mixed with the NVMe that they have in the actual. Actually, how much storage does it come with? It's probably 256 gigs, right? 512. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. 512 is pretty good. So 512 plus up to 2 terabyte storage. Now the cool thing is on my Steam Deck, the games run like almost exactly the same from an SD card versus the NVMe. I know it's bonkers to think about that. I've seen videos where they only saw like 1 or 2 frame rate loss. Like one's at 67 FPS and the SD card is running at 65 or 64. That is acceptable. In some cases it was like exactly as the NVMe, I believe. So this is really interesting. So I'm gonna keep a track eye on it. I want to know what you guys think. Would this, if it came in at like 500, would this replace or be your new gaming tower? Right? I don't know from me because I have yet to play EU5, and I want to play EU5 on heavy graphics. So you definitely need a large graphics card for that. One other question I have for the Steam developers is, can you do what they call, I forgot what it's called, external GPU support? So what that means is using the USB-C cable, right? Like there's USB-C, where is it? I don't know what, I know it's like 3.2, right? Gen 2. I gotta look at the specs because there's just so many different variations. So you plug in your cable here. It doesn't go to your TV, right? It doesn't go to your monitor, right? It goes to another box, right? Where you put a graphics card in, a chunky graphics card. And then that goes to your TV. And that basically gives your PC, a 5090 graphics card, or 7900 XT, something like that. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Catch you next one. See you then.